What's up, clickers, citizens of Jacksonville, and golf enthusiasts? Welcome back to Fantasy Files Reacts, the show that we do in addition to the main show, because apparently I don't have enough of a workload already, and I'm a glutton for punishment. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe, joined by Nick Henderson from the 4-Player Podcast and the Dexter Daily. All of his links are going to be down in the description, so check those out if you'd like to see the kind of stuff that he does. Today we are discussing episodes 1 and 2 of The Last of Us Season 2 on HBO. And we're doing it live because new episodes go up on Sunday night. I just found this out yesterday, trying to schedule this whole podcast. And basically, episode 3 goes up tonight. So even if I edited this episode tonight, we would still be a week behind. So you guys get it live with warts and all. We'll do this for every 2 episodes, so the next live stream will be for episodes 3 and 4, right before episode 5 airs, that same day. So basically, we're trying to treat this as a pre-game to the new episodes so that you can get recapped on what's happened and get excited for the new episode. With that out of the way, let's check in with our co-hosts and let's talk some Last of Us. Nick Henderson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You were on for the first season, at least a couple of the episodes, if not a bunch of them. I can't remember. We've done so many now.
I think we did. I think I was on there for like 3 or 4. I don't remember how we did it last time either, but I remember talking with you about it a lot. So
yeah. Obviously, you host the 4-Player Podcast, which is a podcast where you guys talk about gaming. I'm sure The Last of Us has come up many a time.
It has, yes. Much to my dismay, it has come up many times, and for multiple reasons.
Right, yeah, some good, some bad. And you actually have a Last of Us tattoo, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, is it visible? Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Yeah. Nice.
Kind of hidden behind my microphone there, but yeah.
Very cool.
If that tells you anything about where I stand in The Last of Us.
You're right, yeah. Yeah, we all get tattoos of things we love. Gabe actually just got his reworked. He's got Mouse from the Dresden Files and the amulet, and it's turned out fantastic.
Weren't you thinking about getting a tattoo for the Dresden Files as well? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, I have one. I have the same amulet that he's got, but he's got like Mouse above his, which is the dog, the magical dog from the series. Nice. Yeah, it looks so good.
Dog. Oh man.
Yeah, he's
called a foo dog. He's a Tibetan Mastiff that's is like a temple guardian.
Oh yeah. Shit.
Yeah, he's got like magical powers, and whenever he gets into
awesome.
like
my favorite character of the series.
He's fantastic. He's amazing. And whenever he gets into like his battle ready stance, he gets like this blue fire around him. So that's the blue that's on Mouse over there.
I should check that out. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
It's really cool.
You would love the Dresden Files. Like seriously, you should totally read it. Do the audiobooks.
You recommend I've been like really going hard on audiobooks lately.
Definitely,
so.
Yes,
audiobook.
yeah. The first couple audiobooks are from like the early 2000s, so they're a little bit dated. But as you go on into the series, they get like significantly better. And James Marsters is just one of the best audiobook narrators you can possibly find.
James Marsters?
Yeah. Spike from Buffy narrates it. Yeah. Buy it right now.
What? You didn't. That's all you had to say, like,
right?
I mean, it's kind of a miracle that I don't yet have a Buffy tattoo, because that is probably the next thing for me. So, like, that's really all you had to say. Holy shit!
Right? Yeah. What kind of Buffy tattoo would you get? You should get two stakes crossed or something.
I have no. I mean, I don't know how familiar are you with Buffy? I guess
not like super familiar. Okay. I'm not like super.
I don't know. I always thought about there's this episode in season 3 where she goes to prom, and the entire her entire high school bands together and gets her this like umbrella with like a plaque on it that says "Class Protector."
Okay.
That was cool. I don't know how cool I can make it into a tattoo, but
I was gonna say that's pretty niche.
Somebody could do it.
Somebody
could do it.
But I feel like it's one of those things. One of the images from the show that kind of stuck with me and has.
How is the plaque fastened to the umbrella?
It's like just secured around the handle or around between the handle and the top. I don't know.
Okay, so is it like a full size plaque?
No,
that's
no.
Oh, it's like the size of the bar or whatever.
I'll have to find it and show you.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, that's cool. So yeah, you guys haven't really gotten to talk about the Last of Us show on your podcast, right?
We actually talked about it a little bit. I don't know if it was last week or just like for like 10 minutes or so. We talked about it kind of at the beginning. I wasn't really planning on bringing it up. It's it's a divisive game. And it's a divisive topic, and the same goes for our podcast. So it's just like one of those. I don't usually like to bring it up unless somebody's really ready to talk. Like, unlock my rage or my enthusiasm for the show.
That's great.
But it came up and we just talked about it. I mean, everybody who's on the show who's watched it really enjoys it and thinks it's fantastic television. There's just a lot of disagreements, among people about like the way the story is told in the game and certain other things that I personally think are kind of dumb. That's why I don't like to bring it up. But
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we were talking beforehand about how it's a very divisive game. You either really love it like you and I do, or there's other people out there that just vehemently hate it. Just like it's the worst thing ever. And
are wrong, but
yeah. And Gabe is actually working his way through The Last of Us. He bought both games.
Game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the first game. I bought the remastered first one.
Yeah.
And I'm probably maybe halfway through right now.
Okay, so this is your first time playing through them?
First time playing through the games, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that first game is not nearly as divisive as the second. The first game.
The first game is a masterpiece.
Largely considered to be a masterpiece.
Yep.
Kind of perfect.
It's been awesome. Whenever I can get away from Remnant,
Yeah.
But I will be, full disclosure. The second game. I mean, the first game was on my. I would put it on my top 10 games of all time, probably in my top 5. And the second game for me is. I feel like it's just like. It's hard for me to separate them. I feel because like for me. The Last of Us is one large cohesive story, and I think in my opinion, the second game just makes everything that happened. The first game, it elevates it, and the whole thing just feels to me like one big story. Which is I'm really glad they called the game The Last of Us Part 2 instead of like The Last of Us 2. It just kind of makes it feel like this is a continuation of that story, and that's genuinely how I've always felt about it. So we made our top 10 games of all time videos a while back, and I totally cheated. I was like, I'm not going to just pick one or the other. Like, I'm saying my favorite game, like in my top 5, The Last of Us, but I'm talking about
as a whole,
as a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
So, which I know is cheating, but goddamn it, it's my video. I can do
whatever you want.
That's right. Yeah, I loved The Last of Us too, and we were kind of talking backstage about how Gabe and I are very different in the way that we consume media. I'm very online. I watch
really.
Yeah, Gabe
really
doesn't.
Media.
Yeah.
I mean, I am very much like Gabe, but I wish or I'm more like Spencer, but I wish I was more like Gabe because like I'm constantly like zoned in online with like the discourse and stuff, and sometimes I wish I could just turn that shit off.
Yeah. Well, honestly, for me, it was like right after like the time around Last of Us 2 where I really started getting into YouTube, like even just like watching it on a daily basis. And so
what poor timing.
I know, what poor timing. But so I played The Last of Us 2 having missed all of the discourse. I just picked up the game and played it went in completely blind, hadn't even really seen a trailer or anything. I just knew that I would play it because I liked the first game. So I hadn't seen anything around the game, and I got to experience it totally blind, and I loved it. Like it is one of my favorite games of all time. Like it is. I certainly have my gripes with it. I certainly have my like, why did they have to do it this way? But
there are certainly things to nitpick or dissect and debate for sure.
Yeah.
But for me, the weekend it came out, it was just I knew I was going to be. I think it came out on a Friday, so I took the Friday off, and my wife was actually out of town that weekend, so I was like, I'm not home by myself, so I started it Friday morning when I got the game, and I finished I played almost nonstop. Like I was
same, yeah.
I stopped to go like eat meals, sleep, everything. You know.
Yep, same.
But when I was awake, I was plugged in, and I finished the game. The credits were rolling on Sunday night at 11 p.m.
It was the exact same for me.
That's awesome.
Because I remember Gabe and I were working together at the time, and I left Friday night, and I'm like, I'm about to go, buy Last of Us 2 and play it. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And so we left work. I played it all through that night, all through Saturday, and finished it Sunday night because I just could not stop. And I remember it's a page turner for sure. And I remember exactly where I was when, and guys, spoiler for, everything we're about to discuss, by the way, like obviously spoilers.
There should be certain spoilers we're not going to mention because, I mean, Gabe hasn't played the game, right?
Yeah, Gabe, how do you want to operate that? I'll leave that up to you.
I'm not worried about spoilers. It doesn't bother me at all. I already know.
You are
just.
I know he's a monster. I know he's a monster.
It's weird, but I still enjoy it the same. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
Actually, I do have one of the guys on our podcast has always insisted that he's like the same way, and I'm like, I do not believe you. And I have watched him spoil like the most ridiculous shit. Like I'm not even kidding. Like one of the earliest memories I have, because I met him when I was working at GameStop in college, and I turned him on to watching Dexter for the first time, and he like went home, watched a few episodes, like, oh my god, I'm into this, I love this. And then I was kind of just telling him about what, kind of trying to set his expectations, right? And I was like, whatever you fucking do, stay off the internet.
Yes,
you're gonna spoil something.
And he
very
immediately
important.
went on the internet, huh?
Yeah.
He like, not even shitting you, 5 minutes later he's on his phone, and he kind of like looks up and he goes, oh shit, I think I just saw something I wasn't supposed to see, and he ruined the end of season 4 for himself.
Oh no!
yeah. Well, he was still in the middle of season 1. He ruined.
Oh no!
But he like ever since then he's always just been like, he's like, I don't know what y'all talk about. What are you talking about with spoilers ruining things? What does that even mean? So we've constantly gotten these debates, and I'm like, I don't even know how your brain works, man. That would ruin shit for me.
That specifically is like one of the best twists and spoilers of all time. Like
I am talking to somebody on Blue Sky right now. He started watching the show for the first time. He's never seen it. He's avoided all spoilers, so he's been constantly talking to me about it and stuff. And he's now in season 5. He somehow made it all the way to season 4, having never watched the show at all. Had no idea. Had no idea what's coming.
That's a beautiful, terrible but beautiful moment.
I'm going for the ride. I'm like, this is amazing. Just keep going. Like you don't know anything. This is
just keep updating me. Yeah.
So he's been giving me updates every couple days. He's like, I just watched this episode. Holy shit! I'm like, I know.
That's a beautiful thing. That's so good. It's so good. So yeah, I guess we'll be vague with what we can be vague about, but if we're
gonna talk about episode 1 and 2, we'll try and keep it.
Yeah, if we need to talk about something, we'll talk about it.
Perfect.
So just if anybody, for any of our viewers, just be aware. So the what I was saying earlier is that I remember exactly where I was when Joel died in the game. And I was like laying back in my bed.
You were in hell.
I was in hell, and like the lights were off. And I'm just like, I'm playing it from my bed. My TV was like right at the end of the bed. And I'm just like laying there, and I'm just like, no, wait, no, and it just
denial.
gets like more and more intense. And I remember I had the same exact reaction that I had to like one of the later Dresden File books. Gabe knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I just set down the controller and I started like sobbing. And I did the exact same thing in episode 2. I was like I've cried like so much this morning watching episode 2.
Oh, you watched it today for the first
time?
Yep.
I watched it right before we all got on. And oh my God, I remember I just cried and cried when that happened in the game. I was not expecting it in the least. I'd gone in completely blind and I was just like, oh my God, this is the most awful thing I've ever witnessed. And
gut punch.
Yeah, it's a huge gut punch, and it really sucks. But yeah, let's go into some of our general thoughts because we're already kind of doing that for episodes 1 and 2. I did have a note here. I'm like, it kind of sucks that these premiere on Sunday night because we record midday Sunday, and so it's like.
I mean, Dexter kind of spoiled you because they were doing that on Fridays.
I know. And so I was able to get an episode out like that. So with these, that's...
HBO has always been a Sunday night. Like the big, their big flagship shows are always Sunday nights. Game of Thrones, Last of Us.
Yeah, it's tough. Except I think that like House of Dragons premiered like earlier in the day though. Like I think you were able to watch House of Dragons. No,
it
was that night. It was Sunday night,
like Sunday night at like 7 or 8 p.m.
Damn.
Yeah, maybe it was different for the first season or something because they were trying to like launch a new show or follow up stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's gotten to the point where that's just as high profile as Game of Thrones, so it's
oh yeah. I'm super excited for the next season of House of the Dragon. It's gonna be awesome. So what are your guys's like general thoughts on these first couple episodes going from season 1 into season 2? We'll start with Gabe. Do you have any?
Yep. I wish I would have had the mindset of rewatching all the first season before getting back, but that's kind of a commitment, so I didn't have.
You're playing the game, which is almost the same thing.
It's
pretty.
Yep, and the game is incredible, but I just remember not only the story, which is incredible, but I just really liked like the cinema. It's like very very well done. Yeah, it's an event, exactly, and so that was cool. And not that these episodes weren't, because they certainly were. There's a lot going on, but I would be remiss if I didn't say I really wished I would have watched him, like a straight shot, because I think that would have just added, because some of the stuff I had, like, I was kind of confused at first, like, oh, okay, I remember they're in this, now they're at this town, and now there's a divide between Joel and Ellie and, whatnot.
Did you, just out of curiosity, did you remember why there was a divide between them?
Yeah.
Because I can answer that if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm pretty sure I remember, but go ahead and clarify.
I mean, I will say this: that divide, especially in the show and in the game, because the way the story is told in the game is a topic of conversation we will have, I'm sure, compared to the show. But like that divide between Joel and Ellie in the show is intentionally, and in the game is intentionally left kind of vague. Like, there are holes that are to be filled throughout the rest of the season as the story unfolds. So you're not really meant. I mean, you can kind of guess. You can kind of figure out that.
Yeah, I just
we'll get flashbacks for sure.
Yeah. I just remember that he lied to her about something.
Yeah, I mean, he lied to her as like the last. Well, you're still playing through the first game, right?
Yeah.
So
he saw the last season.
But I watched the full first season. So
he, at the end of the first season, he murdered everybody in Salt Lake City, all the Fireflies, and saved her life and left, and then told her that they couldn't find a cure.
It was all
bullshit or whatever, and they just left, and she was still under anesthesia. So
So the nuance of it though is that she these doctors believed that they could extract a cure for all of this from her.
Yep.
But
it'd have to kill her.
But it'd have to kill her.
Yeah.
And so that's why Joel kills all these people, is because he's like, I'm not willing to lose this like new daughter that I have.
I'm not losing a second daughter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But Ellie would have been willing to sacrifice herself. She would have been.
She wanted her life to mean something.
Yeah.
And the whole like debate that's been raging since the first game ever came out was twofold. One is, was Joel right for doing what he did? That's like the big one. Everybody loves to talk about whether Joel was in the right or wrong. Two is, when he at the very end when Ellie makes him swear that's what happened, and then she says okay, and that's kind of, then it cuts to black, and then it's like, does she believe him, or does she realize that he just lied to her?
Yeah.
So like that's kind of where it leaves everything hanging, and that's kind of what's supposed to lead you with like this uncertainty about where they stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that when there's so much packed into that okay, and I think that's like the beauty of the ending, is because it means so many things.
Yeah.
And I think the general consensus is that when she says okay, she's not saying, okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
She's saying, okay, I understand that you're lying to me right now, and I understand you're probably doing it because you think it's for the best.
Yeah.
So, like, I still, like, love you, but I'm also, like, not happy with you lying to me right now. And I think they did it great in the show, or it's like I can't remember if it was exactly this way in the last episode of the first season, but in the first scene of this season, she says, okay, and they kind of just like stand there for a second, and she like looks at him, and then she kind of like shrugs and then like moves back down the hill. And I thought that was a really good thing too, because then you see there was no conversation following that. There was just okay, and then walking down to Jackson.
She's putting her faith in him, and
and
then you get that 5-year time jump, and you realize, okay, well, a lot of stuff can happen in 5 years,
right?
But you're not really sure what happened in 5 years, and now at this point, obviously things have boiled over a little bit, and they're not in a great place,
right? So luckily,
that was another thing I forgot about the time jump. So I think that's where my confusion came from at first, but then I realized, like, obviously,
this is like years and years.
Yeah,
later.
Joel's like doing construction, and like they're part of a council and stuff. Like they're been doing it for a minute.
That's one thing I have to keep reminding myself too. I mean, I think they make it a little more obvious in the game about the time jump.
Yeah.
And this one, like the very beginning, I think it's the very first scene of the show of the season 2, or maybe it's the second. I don't know. Very quickly though, we meet Abby and the group.
Yeah.
And when we meet them, that is right after what happened in season 1, and then the next time we see them is when they're approaching Jackson. And
I was confused.
There's been a 5-year jump between those two moments.
Yeah, I was confused myself.
Definitely
on when we see Abby standing in front of the tombstones and everything. I thought that was right outside Jacksonville.
No, it's right outside Salt Lake City. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I realized that later, but at first I was like, wait, isn't it supposed to be like winter when they're here? And
they show you the giraffes to like remind you that they're
exactly. Real quick, what's up, Spacey Nova? Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. Just so you know, we are spoiling The Last of Us 1 and 2, so just be prepared. I don't know if you've played them or if you were planning on playing them, but just be aware of that.
We are going to try and keep I think we're going to try our
We're going to try and keep it.
We're going to try and keep it under wraps.
Yeah. Yeah, but just proceed at your own risk. But thank you so much for being here. So that's kind of the beauty of the ending and how we get into season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think of? I'm curious what Gabe thinks of Abby so far. Oh, cool.
I don't know. I mean, after. Kind of tough. I don't know how I feel after obviously what happens. I don't you're meant to not really like her, but I think
I think that's telling.
Yeah.
One, I mean, I think that's the way you're meant to feel.
Yeah.
And that is kind of like the hard line a lot of people draw in the sand with The Last of Us 2, is that once they get to the point where Joel is dead, everybody automatically hates Abby. And that's fair.
Yeah.
Because she did a horrible thing. But the second game then kind of becomes like, or it's like a challenge. It's like, okay, we've made you hate this person. Can we bring you back from that?
Right.
And that's what I think makes it so fascinating. And my question now is like, okay, well, are they going to be able to succeed at that in the show, especially since they're making some changes to like how they're telling the story?
I'll just say, for me, in the second game, I never came around on Abby. Even like I think that her story was like great, and like I eventually like saw the kind of beauty in her story, but I never came around to being like, oh, I like Abby now. And I'm curious if the show will change that for me.
Honestly, in retrospect, I don't even know if the word I would use would for like, did I ever come around on Abby? I mean, probably not, because she did a horrible thing to a character that I really care about. And but I certainly came to understand her better. Yeah. And I think it really just kind of came down to like because it obviously kind of is going to come down to kind of like Ellie versus Abby kind of situation, right? And I care deeply about Ellie, so she has that going into the story. But by the end of it, I was like, both of these people need to calm the fuck down.
Right? Yeah. And that's the cool thing about The Last of Us 2, is by the time you get to the end of the game, you're like, everyone needs to stop. Like everyone needs to
simmer down,
stop, because so many.
That's what they're going for. Like that's what they want. Like I don't think anybody wants you to be like, we want you to love this character who did this awful thing. They just want you to realize that like both of these people have been dealt a shitty hand,
terrible,
and they're not handling it well.
Yeah,
and I don't want to see either one of them. I don't want to see either one of them die or like ruin their what semblance of a life they now have. If it's avoidable. And even though I think Abby did a terrible fucking thing, she's also doing some good. And and Ellie does some terrible things, but she's also doing some good. And again, not going to talk about what happens at the very end of The Last of Us 2, but like, change, like the audience is intended to get to a point, right? Or have certain like complex feelings. And I think that's really all they're going for. They don't want you to like love this character and hate this character. They just want you to feel the complexity of it, because it's a complex.
And that's what when situation. You asked me how I felt about Abby, that's like was my first thought. It's complex. I don't even know the rest of the story, but I already I'm kind of on both sides of the fence, I guess, which again
because Caitlin Dever does such a good job of portraying, which I don't think they did very well in the game. I think Caitlin does such a good job of showing you the hurt that she feels.
Yeah, I watched that scene, when they were making the game where they're all, and that was pretty intense. A lot more intense than it was in the show.
There is definitely a bit of a difference between Abby in the show versus Abby in the game, as I think there's also differences between Ellie in the show and Ellie in the game. In fact, I would say Joel is maybe the only character who is pretty much the same from the game to the show.
And Jesse. Jesse is perfect casting.
Jesse is perfect. Jesse is perfect. But like Ellie has made, or Bella Ramsey has made Ellie different, and Caitlin Dever has made Abby a little bit different. And because it's, Abby in the game is like a fucking tank. She's just an unstoppable,
like a huge muscle.
I mean,
dang, I haven't seen her yet in the game.
She is an angry, vicious, just jacked.
Wow.
Yeah, Gabe, look up a picture of Abby from the game from Last of Us 2.
She's literally like, I could crush your skull between my hands, like
if
I wanted to.
And I think I like that they cast like a a smaller lady in that role, because then it feels like her and Ellie are on much more
They're on
even
even footing.
Yeah,
and I think
they're like the same body type.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Ellie
wow.
is also Ellie is also in the game a little bit is a different build than like Bella Ramsey. So
for sure.
I think casting Caitlin Dever as Abby was a smart move, because she has the intensity, she has the dramatic chops for it, but she's also physically about even with. You know, if they cast someone that looked like Abby from the game to take on Ellie, I'd be like, Ellie's gonna get steamrolled.
Right, yeah.
Steamrolled.
It's just kind of hard to believe when you're watching it as a show.
The two characters feel in the show much like they did in the game. They feel like they are a good match. Fight. Antagonistically, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, they feel like a good match.
Right, for sure. Well, let's talk about the casting a little bit, because, you know, as you know, I loved season 1 almost without any complaints. Like, it was almost perfect for me. And I'm really enjoying season 2 so far. But season 2 just highlights so much how I just cannot get past Bella Ramsey playing Ellie. And I've tried so hard. I've tried to like listen. Everybody else is like,
sorry. My headphones cut out for a second.
Oh, okay. No, you're good.
Back up. What are we general idea? What are we saying here?
No, yeah, sure. I'll just restart. So like, you know, I loved the first season of the show, almost without fail, and I'm loving the second season so far. But for me, the thing that I just can't get past, and what I think that season 2 highlights much more than the first season, is the casting of Bella Ramsey.
Oh, you're still stuck on that?
I am. It's so much more with season 2.
She's great.
Because it's not just about you know, I think if she played Ellie really well, if she was just like a really, really good actress, but didn't quite look like Ellie, I could get past that. But so much of what she's doing, I'm just like, that's just not Ellie. Like, that's just not Ellie, at all. Because Ellie in the second game is so serious. Like, the moments of levity are so few and far between. They're like these precious moments that you get. And Bella Ramsey is like very goofy. Like, even when her and Dina are, you know, in that shop or whatever, and she's like going to grab the beer bottle to throw it, she like looks over at Dina and goes like, ah, or something like that. It's like, Ellie wouldn't do that though. Like, Ellie doesn't goof around like that.
Here's the thing. And for me, the only requirement for Ellie is she has to be a young girl who loves Joel like a father. Like, that's really the only for this story to work. That's really the only requirement. I haven't been super. I mean, I definitely see similarities between show Ellie and game Ellie, but I think there's definitely a divide a little bit.
Yeah.
She has. That's what I mean. A while ago, I said she's definitely made Ellie a slightly different version of Ellie.
Yeah.
But like the moments that have had to hit for Ellie, like when it's really important, I think have really hit. Like for me, I always think about the scene where she's feeding the giraffe in season 1, and there's that just kind of like childlike, oh my god, this is amazing, I'm feeding a giraffe, and she's like giggling and smiling, and you just see Joel like just like in that moment, like I would murder anybody for this child,
right?
And like those are the moments where I think it's most important. And the stuff they're doing in season 2 that's really working for me is like everybody's trying to like talk to her about what's going on with her and Joel, and then she's saying things like there's that one exchange she has with Jesse where she's like, look, we're obviously in a bad place, but he's Joel, I'm Ellie, that's never going to change. She's just it's like her way of saying like, I love him even though I fucking hate his guts right now. I love him. And
I did love that scene.
And I was like, oh my, like they're making such smart decisions with the story and the dialogue that like I have long since gotten past the differences in the portrayal of the characters. Because I think we're going to run into a lot of the same situation maybe with Abby. I think they're going to have to, because the Abby in the game is like this like
see, I think
physical force that's just like just wants to like choke the life out of everything, and she's just not. I don't think they could do that with Caitlin Deaver.
I think the difference for me, and maybe this is like super hypocritical, but I think I like the changes to Abby's character, and with Ellie, I just don't like the changes that she's bringing to the character. And like, you know, I guess what I'm getting at is I've tried so hard to get past Bella Ramsey. Being
you're still enjoying the show, so like how detrimental is it?
Sure, no, it's not super detrimental, but it sucks when I see Caitlin Deaver play Abby, and I'm just like, she could have been Ellie. Like she looks the part. I think she would have acted the part amazingly. Like, oh man, I would have loved her as Ellie.
I think I would have loved her as Ellie in season 2. I don't think she could have come across as young enough to be Ellie in season 1. And I think that's the reason why they didn't, because she was
on the list.
I mean,
right?
She's on the list. She has a long-standing relationship with Naughty Dog. She played Nathan Drake's daughter in Uncharted 4. Like so she was considered for a long time, and I think they came to the same conclusion: is she looks too old to be Ellie in The Last of Us 1. She could have pulled off Ellie in The Last of Us 2, but that's because she looks 5 years older.
Yeah, right.
But Bella Ramsey has this kind of like magical, like blurry line. Like she like if you just do her hair a little differently,
she looks too young. She looks way too young.
She could be 14 or she could be 19. Like
I don't think so.
Really, I think she, you know, especially when she has scenes with like Dina. Like I was like, I feel like if she didn't look like she was 19 or first of all, I think she's literally 19. Maybe she's 20 at this point.
I think she's in her 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. So she is the correct age now. Before, she was acting as someone who was younger, but she looked the part.
Yeah.
But now she has scenes with like Dina, like romantic scenes with Dina, and I think she's selling it. And I'm like, okay, if she didn't look the part, I don't think that would have wouldn't have sold. But like they have chemistry, and I enjoy it on screen. I don't feel weird about it at all. So like, I don't know. She's got this like young look, but if you change her wardrobe and maybe her hair a little bit, she can look old enough. I don't know. Caitlin Deaver, I think, just always has looked a little bit too much like an adult.
Yeah,
it feels weird saying it like that. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
He is an adult.
I think the scene you're talking about at the dance, that was the first time where I was like, okay, she's looking the part here. But in an episode or two, she's going to go back to looking, you know, pretty much how she's looked for like episode 1.
They're doing something pretty dramatic with her hair. I don't know if you've seen shots of the coming episodes. Like she's wearing her hair down and like Actually, I think they're giving her a very similar haircut to what she had in the game.
Yeah, where
but
it was like back, but it was kind of,
and it does make her look quite a bit different than I'm used to seeing it, which I think is there to make her, to age her a little bit, age her up. I guess we'll have to wait and see how that works out, but it's also going to be interesting because now she's not constantly going to be around Joel, who is this like tall,
imposing,
man. So like maybe she'll just naturally look a little bit older than she did before.
Sure. So. Yeah. Well, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. I really hope that she sells me on older Ellie. I want to believe. You know what I mean? Like I want to be there. But
only time will tell.
Tough.
The important thing is we can all agree that Jesse's casting is perfect.
So I think, fucking good.
I think Dina is going to be amazing. Like
Dina's so good.
She's awesome.
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know who's playing Dina, but she's amazing.
Isabella Marcel.
I'll Google it really quick.
Okay,
I can't remember her full name yet. She's still a relatively new actress to me. She was in Alien Romulus. If you ever saw that.
Oh yeah. I just watched that. Yeah, Isabel Merced.
Was she the cameo that we saw in season 1? Was that her?
She wasn't.
It wasn't her. Damn it.
But it's funny because like everybody had the exact same thought. They hadn't even cast Dina. I mean, maybe it was supposed to be Dina, but they hadn't actually found Dina yet.
Right.
Maybe in people's minds they can just pretend that was her. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. But
yeah,
I think
I love her.
she's great in the role. I think she's absolutely perfect. And I think Jesse, the first time I saw Jesse, I was like, he looks like he was pulled straight out of the game. Like his hair and everything is just
there are some characters in this season of the show that they literally pulled straight out of the game to play the same characters. We haven't met them yet.
Really?
We haven't met them yet. If this is not one of them, but
okay.
there are I think at least 2 characters that were, which they did technically in the first season too, because what's her face? Oh my god, the main Firefly chick. Why am I blanking on her name?
Oh, I don't know.
The one that Joel shoots at the very end. I'm blanking on her name. In the parking garage when he's holding Ellie. She played that same character in the game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They have kind of a Marlene, yes. So they have a history of doing that already, and they're doing it again here. But this is not one of them. But yeah, Jesse does look like he was ripped straight out of the game.
Yeah, and Troy Baker obviously wasn't the same character, but he did play a character in the first season, which was very cool. I
remember you pointing that out to me, like.
Yeah,
like,
that's Joel.
Pay attention here.
And I'm sure this is probably in your notes already, but the song that plays at the end of episode 2 is sung by oh my god, I am like super bad at names today.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm always bad at names.
It's the actress who plays Ellie in the game, and she sang the song in the first trailer for the last
Ashley
Johnson.
Ashley Johnson, thank you.
Ashley Johnson sang that song in the first trailer for The Last of Us Part 2. Like before you even knew what the whole game was about, like that song sung by her was in that first trailer, and it's that was a perfect place to just slide it into the show. And of course she plays Ellie's mom in the first season, so like there's this whole like really cool kind of like connection between the Ellies of the different universes and all that stuff.
Yeah. What do you think? I forget when exactly it comes in the game, so I'm curious if you have a theory as to what episode we'll see it. But if I ever were to lose you, do you have an idea of when that would play?
Oh, the one that she sings in to Dina in the when she's playing the guitar? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, the one that like Joel writes for her. And she also sings it to Dina. But, if I ever were to lose you,
that might be tonight's episode. I mean,
really.
I feel like the episode we're going to see tonight is entirely dealing with the immediate aftermath of Joel. So I would imagine we're going to get our first flashback to that moment.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's one of my favorite parts of the second game is Joel kind of playing that for.
Also, one thing we should mention before we get too far, and because I told you this the other day, and I don't think you were even aware of it, but this season is shorter.
So it's 7 episodes.
7 episodes, which I think has a lot to do with them trying to figure out how to tell the story of the second game.
Yeah.
It's possible to fit it in one season.
Right.
So they had to kind of find a good
stopping point
that makes sense for like the end of a season and to pick it up because they've already renewed it for season 3. So like, I imagine that has everything to do with why it's a weird number of episodes. But
that is odd.
Yeah.
And you even said that maybe the last couple episodes of the season are going to be like super long, like an hour and a half or something.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they've released those runtimes yet, but I've seen first. I think it was like the new season of 1923 is a shorter season as well. It's like 6 or 7 episodes, and the last episode is 2 hours long.
Wow.
So like it's and the new season of Stranger Things, or the last season of Stranger Things that's coming later is supposedly like 6 episodes, but every episode is like 2 hours long. So like it's not unheard of to see them to do that kind of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen here either.
That'd be cool. Let's talk about Jacksonville. It looks amazing. I was constantly floored with the sets in this season. They were good.
He called it Jackson Hole.
What?
I thought he called it Jackson Hole. I kept hearing Jackson Hole.
No, it's Jacksonville.
I think he might have called it Jackson Hole.
Jesse did it at one point, but he might have been like making fun of it. Like
he's probably making fun of it. Yeah.
I don't know why you'd make fun of it. The place looks badass.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dude, it is so sick. I think like when you really get to see like Jacksonville, you're like, oh my god, it looks just like the game. And then
They
of
built that
course,
whole
like
place it's like that. It's insane. Like they did the
they
same
literally
thing.
built it.
They did the same thing they did with the cul-de-sac scene in the first season, but like on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the budget has gone up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the second season, especially like they blew the whole first season's budget in the second episode.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then like the scene with the dance where they all go to the town dance, that was like pulled straight out of the game. It looked perfect. Like even that opening shot with the lights all fuzzy and then her head comes into focus, that's like straight out of the game. It looks so good. My god.
Just continue. I mean, I think Craig Mazin is amazing, and I think he has demonstrated in the first season, and they're continuing to do it. There is a very clear like reverence for the source material.
Yeah.
That's visible in almost every episode in one way or another, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. The we'll talk about Joel's death later, but the scene that really just made me like just shocked at how well they did the set was the house that the WLF members are staying in. I'm like
the cabin.
I'm like that. It literally looks exactly the way it did in the game. Like,
I remember
1 for 1. Like that's.
I remember
crazy.
when they were filming, and I would in my perpetual onlineness, I'm constantly seeing like updates and stuff. Like, the filming, like the day they were filming the shot from the cabin, it was like because they actually went to like some cabin in like I don't even remember where it was, but like that's not like they didn't build that set. They found
it's like somebody's
really.
And there's like people flew drones over the set and were like shooting like there's the cabin. They're filming. You can see all the film trucks and stuff around, and like people were taking the drone shot and like posting it with the Breaking Bad meme of Walter White in the back of the car going. No! Just like, oh my god, that's so good. Everybody knows exactly what they're filming in there.
Yeah. Oh my god. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
Such a good meme.
Yep. Nick, did you like the way they revealed Abby's character in
I have yet to decide
the show?
I think it all hinges upon where it's going, because it definitely feels like they made a very intentional decision, and I don't think we yet know the reasoning for that decision, because in the game you don't find out who Abby is or what she's doing or who she's looking for or what her motivations are until literally it's happening in front of your face.
Right.
And here it's just like they rip that Band-Aid off immediately. They introduce you to Abby in the group. She says she's going to kill Joel. They're going to find Joel and they're going to kill him slowly.
Yeah.
But there's always been a discussion from day one, like how the fuck are they going to adapt the second game, because it is such a different, but like the
way the story is told.
The way the story is told from two different perspectives, jumping to different places, different times, and it's just like, how the fuck do you do that? And I think we're eventually going to. I just don't think we have enough information yet. I feel like that the reasoning for that is going to make more sense when we kind of see the big picture.
Yeah. Because Gabe, in the second game, you see Abby early on, like you do, like they've done in this season in the show, but she's just like this random character. Like you have no idea what she's doing. You have no idea.
You don't
she's
just
looking
see her.
For.
You play as her before you even know who the hell she is or what she's doing.
That's
right.
cool.
Yeah. Like one of the opening scenes of the game is you walking around. Like, do you remember where like in this season, that crew was like walking through the snow, and then they get to a peak and they look over out at Jacksonville. You play that scene as her in the game, but you don't understand like why they're going to Jacksonville or who they're looking for or anything like that.
Also, I could be wrong. This is totally unrelated. I think we might be changing the name of. I think it's just called Jackson. I don't think it's actually called Jacksonville.
That's what I knew something was off about that.
So I was like, every time we say it, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like we're just talking. Jacksonville is in Florida.
Am I getting Mandela affected?
I think you might be. I think it's just called Jackson.
I would bet my left nut that it had been Jacksonville.
Don't make that bet. That's a bad thing to bet. Because I was like, something just sounds wrong.
That's
every time
what
you say it.
yeah.
Fuck me, it's called Jackson.
Jackson.
Dude, what? I swear,
Jackson, Wyoming.
I swear it is a Mandela effect. I would bet anything that 3 years ago when I was playing this game or whatever it was 5 years ago.
You just bet your left nut. So
yeah.
Pay up.
Damn it. I think
Anyways.
I have where is it? Oh, yeah.
I did not. Oh,
Oh
God.
my God, that's terrible.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interject there. What were we talking about? Abby?
Jackson. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We can move on to talking about the episodes. We probably got to move forward anyway.
Let's go.
Episode 1 is called Future Days. Do any of these titles like mean anything specific to you as like a video game aficionado? Like, does Future Days mean
is the name of a song that they play in the episode.
Oh.
I don't remember who sings it.
Okay.
Pearl Jam, which Pearl Jam has had a big connection to the series in general. Like, the song that she sings to Dina later, I believe, is a Pearl Jam song.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's
plus
the song
they're going
she
to
sings.
Seattle.
Yeah. So yeah, like Pearl Jam, and I know Neil Druckmann has always been a huge Pearl Jam fan, so like he tries to squeeze in references throughout.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Craig Mazin said it just felt like an appropriate title for because it's 5 years in the future and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
okay. One last Ellie rant. I hated this whole "I'm immune" scene. I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, oh my God.
Why not? What's wrong with
why
that?
Not?
I don't think Ellie wouldn't do that. I
think you're getting bogged down a little too much in like.
I probably am, but
that's like his signature move about stuff like this.
She is a teenager. Of course she would do that.
She's like almost 20 in the game. Like she's
trying to she's like, I'm tired of people seeing me as just like an extension of Joel. She's like and
that's the whole reason why she did that in front of Tommy, because he was like, dang, you're, I don't know. It made sense in the moment, I think.
She was trying to like make a point.
Yeah.
And that is just one easy way of making a point is just like, look, you're forgetting, bitch. I'm immune. And then he gets upset. She's like, nobody, what the fuck are you worried about? Nobody's here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna yell it. Nobody can hear it. I mean, it was reckless. It was probably something she would have been better off not doing, but she's also 19 years old. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Teenagers are idiots.
Yep.
And
I wasn't. I was perfectly level-headed.
We were all idiots.
Yeah, I know I was big time.
I loved this scene with Joel where he's like the head of their construction thing, and Tommy's wife. I can't stand Tommy's wife, but she comes in and
you got it out for these random characters. What's going on?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think she's so bitchy all the time. But she I like her as like a written character. I think she's well written, but I just think like as like a character in this world, I was like, man, she's just kind of bitchy. But
she's definitely a hard personality.
Yeah. She comes into his office and she's like, we gotta hurry up on the construction speed and like all this stuff. And I loved this moment where like Pedro is like, or like Joel is taking her like really like seriously, and he's like, yeah, you're right. We do have this thing. He's like, we got this dial, and all we do is we just like turn it up a little bit, and it'll improve the speed of construction. And she's just like sitting there like, like you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Comes in.
Yeah,
yeah.
You tell her about the dial.
You tell her about the dial. Yeah.
That made me laugh out loud. That was so
perfect
hard
on a number of reasons. But I think my favorite thing about that is it just kind of like it was a very brotherly moment. Like like you could tell like they had this in joke about the dial.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's great, and it harkens back to before the before times where they were they were both working
Right.
construction and
they were
stuff.
probably contracting together, and and it's so good. I think it's such a good it's such a good piece of writing. Like you know that the writers are really talented when they don't have to explain that they have this in joke together, but through like this one line of dialogue, the audience member can be like, "Oh, this is probably something going way back." And like,
they're not very heavy-handed with the dialogue. It's just like they find really organic ways of like making you feel and realize things that they want you to feel. So
right,
very well done.
Which I think is really cool because I think the games did that as well. Like the games were never heavy-handed as far as like leading the audience to like a certain conclusion.
I think Naughty Dog has just always had a really talented team of writers. So
yeah, I wonder how many writers from the game are writing the show. There's got to be some, right?
Honestly, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I think the main team of writers is just. I mean, I think all of the writers on the show are very, very big fans of the game.
Yeah,
right.
But I think Neil Druckmann is just kind of the intermediary between the game studio and the TV show studio, and he's obviously the what do you want to call it?
Yeah,
the main creative creative lead, I guess, on the game. So he's the walking, talking Bible of on the show.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. The scene where Joel is like in like therapy. I don't know if I would really call it therapy, but
with Gale, new character alert. Gale.
Right. I was also confused about that when that was going on.
But I hope we see more of her, but I don't. I have a feeling.
I doubt it. I think she's just a one-off.
I liked her a lot.
She was cool. She was not in the game, and
yeah, she was cool. I don't think there was ever any mention of Joel going to therapy or anything like that in the game. I was kind of like, all right.
This is one of those things that they kind of like create out of, and then slide it in between things that we do recognize, which I think is why the show has always worked.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I don't mind like adding stuff. I've always said like I really don't mind like adding scenes or adding like new pieces of information as long as they're not taking away. I don't feel like they are.
It isn't. Gale's character is intrinsically tied to something that's in the game.
Yeah,
because in the game, her husband, whose again name I can't remember right off the top of my head. But he's
like
the
Edward or something.
He's the one who's been secretly growing the pot in the gas station that Dina and Ellie stumble upon in the game.
Really? I didn't know who he was.
Yeah. He's the pot guy. That's why when she pulls out, I forgot how the scene goes. It's been like a week and a half for it since I've seen the episode.
Jesse take her to the pot, at least in the show.
So we'll talk about that. But in the show, it's Ellie and Jesse in the gas station. In the game, it's Ellie and Dina.
Gotcha.
And it's as you can imagine, it's a very different kind of scene.
For sure.
Yeah.
But so in the scene with Gale, she kind of alludes to, and I think this is kind of brilliant, like he's going to therapy with her, but through the conversation, you kind of pick up the context clues that her husband got infected somewhere and Joel had to put him down.
Yeah.
And so she hates him just kind of on a just basic level of like, you killed my husband, even though I know you did what you had to do.
Yeah.
But like, so she hates him, but she's also a therapist.
Yeah. But what did she mean? What she specifically says, she's like, I hate the way you did it. She's like, it's not, she's like, you didn't put him down like quickly or whatever. Like you did it a certain way. I was like, what way is that? Like, do you remember what this is?
I think the implication is that he was very emotionless about it. Like he didn't hesitate. He just shot him, which is something that probably like ties into him being kind of a cold-blooded, like, I'll do what I have to do. Yeah. And obviously it also doesn't demonstrate the same level of like, I guess, emotional investment that he has in someone like Ellie.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, you shot him without batting an eye. And she can't really look past that, I think.
Right.
It's just, that one scene, and they've made that whole thing, which is only kind of like mentioned offhand in the game, so much more.
Has he done that in the show yet? Did we see that last season or anything? Him shooting this guy?
No, it all happens off screen. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
In the game too, I think you only hear about the fact that he died, and I don't think you find out why or how or what the circumstances are. So making it so that Joel was the one who did it, and then his wife is the one giving him therapy. It just is like, what
it's
the
weird.
fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
But it's a cool dynamic, and they're having therapy on the anniversary or on her first birthday since he died, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's like drinking.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes some comment about smoking, and I don't know. It was just a really interesting like scene, and that's obviously where they have that whole dialogue where she's trying to get him to open up about his divide with Ellie, and
and that's great because yes, that was such a good line, because he can't like outright talk about what happened, because it's not like his thing to share. It's Ellie's, and
he doesn't want anybody to know she's immune, because
exactly.
What's gonna happen when everybody finds out she's immune? They're gonna try and cut her open and figure out what
happened last time.
Yep. And I love she kind of implicates like, did you hurt her? Like, did you do something like abusive to her or anything? Right. And he's like, no, I didn't do anything like that. And she's like, what did you do? And I just love that moment where he stands up and he looks down at her and he says, I saved her, and walks out. It's like,
that is maybe the closest thing to maybe the closest thing to a continuation of that conversation between him and Ellie that we're ever going to get, or at least not right now. He's not having a conversation to Ellie, but he's telling someone else how he sees what he did, which is, I didn't do anything wrong. I saved her.
I almost wonder if did we see this in the show already? Was in the show, have we gotten the scene with him and Tommy talking about this, where Joel's like fixing his guitar or fixing his gun or whatever?
Again, I think
that's in the game,
tonight.
right?
Yeah. I think that could happen tonight.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not basing that off of anything other than I feel like it would probably fit.
Yeah, because he tells Tommy. Obviously, we see in the first episode that Tommy knows that she's immune.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the show didn't open up with that, because I think that's how the second game opens, right? Is him and Tommy?
Yeah.
I think so.
I actually considered starting the game again this week, but
I'm halfway through it. I'm halfway through. I'm at the point where they are in the museum, or have just gotten done with the museum.
The first game or second game?
Second game.
I'm gonna start that game again soon, because
fuck. This is like my third playthrough, and I love it. I think it's one of the best like NPC AI concepts that we've ever gotten. The AI is so smart, and they communicate with each other, and they'll like flank you, and they'll whistle to each other. And
there's just so many moments, just mind-blowing moments in the second game where like I'm playing as one character, and there's another character with me, and I'm about to get shot in the face, and then I get my fucking ass saved by my partner, and then they're having this like dynamic dialogue based on what happened. And
like,
I'm like,
oh, thanks for
that is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
It is,
I'm literally on the ground looking up at this guy who's like about to shoot me, and then
you get
AI character comes out and just like shoots him in the head, and I'm like,
oh my god. It's that's so cool. Like I am floored that more games haven't adopted the same AI, because it's by far like the best I've seen in any game. Like, it's so good. I mean, so good.
There was a huge conversation about Naughty Dog and crunch culture, and like it's like it's which I get, but you can see it.
But like, it made one of the best games of all time.
Yeah. I'm not saying that justifies it, but I'm just like, you can definitely see the fruits of their labor in the game. It's insane.
I want to talk about Ellie and Dina going into the market or whatever it is. I forget what kind of the grocery store. And I love, first of all, they like grab the beer bottle and like throw it to distract the...
I was like, oh, they're doing it. They're doing the thing.
Doing it. They're doing the thing. I love that. It was just such a great little like fan service moment. And then they show the dog that's employee of the month. Do you remember this from the game?
Yeah, it's an Easter egg.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was like a developer's dog, and they just kind of like put it up there. I don't remember the whole story behind it or whatever, but like yeah, but everybody, when they were playing the game, they would notice like, oh my god, employee of the month is a dog. It's hilarious. And now it's just made its way into a show. It's like,
it's so good.
This joke is going places.
Yeah, Gabe, it's just like this one-off thing that you can like find in the back of this grocery store. Like it's not part of like a cutscene or anything, and like you can go back there and find like there's like a log or something that tells you about like all the employees of the month, and one of them is the dog. And yeah, I was like, oh my god, I remember that. Like it's so cool. I love
another example of that attention to detail. That that's the reverence I'm talking about. They're even squeezing in little Easter eggs like that, which is just fantastic.
Yeah. The clickers being smarter. What is this?
Yeah, not a clicker. This stalker.
This is a stalker, and this is an enemy in the game. Essentially what they did is this is another instance of them like, we're going to fundamentally change the scene from the game by introducing another enemy type,
a new enemy type,
completely different moment. And stalkers have been one of those creatures that like I've wanted to see since the first season, but like, did we get? I don't think we saw them in the first season.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we did.
Yeah, I think you see them in the first game. I can't even remember.
You do.
Okay, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember any of the enemy types really. I remember like the big guys, and I remember like the clickers,
bloaters, runners, stalkers.
Runners, yeah.
And there's even probably a couple more that I'm forgetting.
But, so remind me what stalkers do.
Stalkers are just like they're super quiet, and they did you ever play Dead Space 2?
No, I've been meaning to play the Dead Space games.
I'm convinced that this is an enemy type that was inspired by Dead Space 2, because and this was, if I could draw a line between that like led to the creation of the stalkers, it's from Jurassic Park to Dead Space 2 to The Last of Us 2. The Dilophosaurus in Jurassic Park, when Nedry like runs into him when he's like his car goes off the road in the rainstorm, and you see like the Dilophosaurus like poke its head out from the tree, and then he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, they're doing that little like hide and seek thing. It looks super cute. Like that inspired an enemy type in The Last of Us 2, because like you walk into a room, or not Last of Us 2, in Dead Space 2, you walk into a room and there's no cutscene or change in music or anything, and you're just like this room with all these like crates and stuff, and all of a sudden you just see this thing like poke its head out, and you're like, what the shit
terrifying.
is that? And then it pokes its head back, and then it makes this like crazy like noise, and then like comes sprinting out from behind and charges you.
That's terrifying.
And in The Last of Us 2, they introduced the stalkers, and they do kind of the same thing, where they kind of like creep around really slowly, and then they kind of like poke their heads out, and then they go back in. And but they're smart, like they try to flank you and do like stealth things, whatever. In the show, they're kind of trying to like play it up as like, not only that just a different type of infected, they're
new.
They're getting smarter. Right. They never really said that more or less in the game, but like that's what they're kind of implying here, which is neat.
Right.
I think it's a neat idea. But yeah, that was in the game. Obviously, it's just clickers in the market, and now they're throwing us curveballs with stalkers, and I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because like that moment you see in the background, you see you can kind of see the shadow of them like walking along the top of the shelving unit. I was like, oh my god, it's a stalker.
See, I didn't even catch that. That's so cool.
Yeah, go back and watch it, man. You can see it like creeping around, like every time she's like looking around, and then you just see like this blurry shadow like kind of like move in the background. You're like, I was just like, oh my god, it's stalking her. It's a stalker. Holy shit.
Oh, that's so great.
So cool.
I love that. So then we get,
and then it bites her.
Yeah.
Which didn't happen in the game.
Well, in the game, she does get bitten at some point, right? And she has to like explain it to Dina.
Well, in the game, there's two parts. So this is
because she gets a new bite, right? In the second game.
What Gabe is going back to what Gabe pointed out about the change in the scene with the in the gas station with the weeds. There, when she ends up there with Dina, they have sex for the first time, and and then while they're like having this like intimate moment, they're talking afterwards. They're talking about her tattoo, and she's like talking about the scar, and then it leads to a conversation where she's like, I'm going to tell you something I've never told anybody else, and she's like, I'm immune, I got bitten, and Dina kind of shrugs it off as like, I don't really believe you.
Yeah,
like, not like I don't believe you, but like, okay,
yeah,
and then they kind of like move on. And then much later in the game, there's a situation where like
she has to give Dina her mask, right?
Yeah, because and this is one thing I don't know if they're going to do in the show, but in the game, the infection is airborne, like the spores.
Yeah, no, I remember going down in the subways and stuff, and you have to gel it up to put the mask on.
So there's a point in the game where she has her mask and it's broken, and Dina starts to freak out. She's like, "I'll give you mine," and she's like, "No, what the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah,
she pulls her mask. It's like, "I'm immune, motherfucker."
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it goes down in the game, but like, which is interesting because like now they've taken one of those moments away, so she has not even told Dina yet that she's immune. So I don't know where they're going to introduce that, which is cool. It's keeping us on our toes. Like
it must be with the bite. Then that must be what they're doing with the bite. Because that's immediately what I thought of. I'm like, oh, are they doing the moment now as opposed to like way later where Dina is going to see that she's bitten, but they didn't do that.
It is really cool what she does in the show with the bite, where she like uses the knife to like cut between the teeth marks to make it look like it's just a cut.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's fucking brutal and
brutal. It's really smart.
Yeah, really smart. Yeah,
yeah, I thought that was cool. We get to see Ellie's journal for the first time, and this is something that you get in the second game and can actually like look through anytime you want, and anytime that you go to like a like somewhere of significance, you can press a button and Ellie will pull out her journal and like write in it, and then you can like look at, she draws all these pictures and makes notes about like different characters or like, and so what you see her write in the journal right then and there is like actually what you read in the journal in the game.
Damn it, I have the journal.
Do you really?
And I can't find it.
Oh, bummer. That's so cool. I love that.
We'll find it at some point.
But yeah, it was just a great little nod to like it was just a great nod to like, yeah, her journal is a thing in the game and all that. It was just neat.
Cool.
Oh, she's writing the joke that Dina made, the terrible joke.
Yeah, the bear
I can't remember what it was, but it was so good.
Oh my god. Yeah, I forget.
I really liked in the show. I love their back and forth. I think it's freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, no, you talking about Dina and
Ellie? Yeah, just I don't know. Dina's
such a good character.
Such a good character, and almost kind of like nonchalant and just kind of easy, but also at the same time like cunning and I don't know. It's just really cool seeing them give each other crap and like you know be friends was really cool.
And that line that she has in the show, which is just verbatim ripped out of the game, where she's like, "Oh, Ellie, I think they should be terrified of you." I was like, "Oh my god!" I was so worried they were gonna flub that moment, and it's like I was like, "Oh, it's perfect. They did it so good."
Nice.
And I love Dina in the game. I fell in love with Dina so fast in the game, and I fell in love with this version of Dina so fast.
Yep.
Man, Dina's so good.
Yeah.
Team Dina.
Team Dina.
Dina is a fantastic character. So let's talk about that. We get the dance, and it looks amazing. And
the bigot.
And the bigot, of course.
But Dina and Ellie look great in this scene. Like they look like straight out of the game.
Yeah.
And it was just like a great scene overall. All of the flirting and all of the like the final like kiss and everything was just so great.
And the conversation she has with Jesse on the sidelines.
Oh god, yeah, that was straight out of the game. That was so good.
It is such a fun dynamic between the four of them, because there's the three of them, because Jesse just broke up with Dina, and Ellie is obviously crushing on Dina, and she doesn't think Dina's ever going to reciprocate because why would she? She's not gay. And then the kiss happens, and then you're like, oh fuck, what's Jesse gonna think?
Yeah,
and then later on, she's when is that in episode 2? I think maybe
that's in episode 2.
She's like, she kissed me or whatever, and he's like, you kissed Dina, and he's like, I'm just fucking with you.
I don't care.
I'm like, oh my god.
Then at the very end, he ends it with you're like, you kissed her. You're such something. Gives her more shit for it.
Yeah.
Last
dude,
that was kind of cool.
It was so good. It was ripped straight out of the game. I loved when he comes and like wakes her up in the morning and like all of their back and forth. I'm like, I remember this like exact scene. It was so good. It was so good. But yeah, so going back to the dance scene, we get the guy that's like, he stands up and he like says some awful shit. But right before that,
Joel body slams him.
And Joel body slams him, and I just love this moment because, like, I'm on Joel's side where he's like, "Fuck this guy," and just like decks him or body slams him, whatever he does. And then Ellie is all upset, and he was like, I forget what Joel says. He was like, "I was just trying to protect you." He's like, "Are you okay?" or whatever. And she says, "I don't need your fucking help."
Yeah.
I was like, so like, the complexity of that scene is so apparent because, of course, I'm on Joel's side. Like, I get it. That guy's a dick, and he cares about Ellie, so he's trying to stand up for her. But I was like, ooh, maybe that wasn't the best time. Like, maybe this was a bad move, and it kind of like reeks of desperation a little bit too.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
He wants to do the thing that makes her like come back into his arms, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna go over the way you think it's gonna go over.
Yep.
And just like that kind of like condescending, like, I can protect you, and she's like, I could have probably whooped his ass myself,
right?
If I thought it was necessary. I didn't need you to step in.
Yeah.
There's so many like warring emotions and what's the word, like every motivations and stuff like that, and it's a really tough scene to
it's hard to
kind
figure
of
out
watch.
who was in the wrong in that scene,
right?
Because it's like I feel like everybody's heart is in the right place, but like, well, except for the big he's an asshole, but but it's just like their timing couldn't be worse.
Well, I like actually teared up during this scene because it's like, I bet that Ellie in episode 3 would give anything to go back to that night and just let Joel do that and like give him a hug or whatever. Like, like in this moment, she's like upset. She's like, "Fuck you. I don't need your help." But
that whole divide is going to haunt her for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
You realize that is one of the last things that she ever says to him, which is just heartbreaking. That was why I was tearing up. I'm like, dude, this is like one of the very last things she says to him. We do get a scene later that that's, it shows us a little bit more, but
as it does in the game, the show will start to like fill in some of the holes that happened in Jackson. So I think a lot of people are kind of, they don't quite see that yet. Like, if they haven't played the game, they're probably assuming like, oh my god, that's so fucked up. Like, but like, there are things that happened that they're going to show us. That will kind of fill in those holes and make it not better, but it will make it maybe a little less painful.
Because was it in this episode where she's like walking home from the dance and she like stops by his cabin but then walks past it? Yeah, for sure.
One scene we didn't really talk about is the scene where where Ellie they're having like martial arts training. Which not in the game. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. I agree.
Yeah,
and I love the whole like he's like, you punch. I forgot what the dialogue is.
He says, "I pulled my punch," or whatever.
I pulled my punch, and she's like, "What?"
Jesse or somebody was saying, "Okay, that's enough," because she socked him. Yeah. Or maybe she socks him after. And then she finds out that he pulled his punch. She's like, "What? Really? You pulled your punch?"
She's all proud of herself.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "No, he pulled the punch." I was like, it's so good.
I thought it was a pretty good scene. I didn't mind it that much. But there was a bit of like, I almost kind of wonder if the showrunners were trying to be like, Ellie's a badass, and like she is, but like not in that way. Like she's much more of like she like sneaks up on people and like takes them by surprise. She's not like a one-on-one fighter.
She's gonna have
a way
to
to
be at
maybe
some point.
show growth, you know?
I think it really.
5 years.
I think it also really comes down to there's a fundamental difference between playing a game and watching a show.
Yeah.
And in the game, as much as I love it, Ellie kind of feels a bit like a superhuman badass. It's not really intentional because she's like taking down fools left and right. Like she's a one-man army in a lot of cases.
But she's only able to do that because she sneaks up on them. If she was like one-on-one fighting them, there's no way.
That's kind of true, but she's also there are going to be scenarios where she does get into physical scraps with people, and
the game makes that really clear that it's like a super close fight. Like it's super like. So I don't know. It's not like a big deal. I don't.
But
like,
you didn't see any of that in season 1. Like there was like no, and there was no. We didn't really have any reason to think that she was suddenly like physically capable. So this was just their way of making it clear that like she's been training to defend herself because she doesn't want to have to rely on Joel for everything.
Yeah. Right.
Which is just another way of kind of painting the divide. So
right. Yeah, I think that's fair for sure. So then we get the WLF crew seeing Jackson, and it was a great.
That's where it ends, right?
Yeah, it was a great first episode. I really liked the first one. Yep. So yeah, going on to episode 2, Through the Valley.
Through the Valley. There was so much conversation and debate, like among like me, my wife and I were talking about this a lot, just kind of like trying to figure out how they're going to tell this story. And it's like, how quickly do they want to get to this point? Because obviously Pedro Pascal is hugely popular and nobody wants to see him like exit the show so early.
Right.
And I was like, there's a world where like they could somehow stretch this out and like episode
That's
7
what I thought.
is where they do it. So I was like, oh my God, like we started watching Through the Valley and I was like, I think they're doing it tonight.
Yeah, they're doing it now. Yeah.
and it was, oh man, I wasn't ready. What an episode, man. Holy shit.
I know. What is Through the Valley reference? Is that another song title?
I think it's just well, the song that she sings at the end, I think is called Through the Valley, but it's also a reference to Through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
okay.
So it's foreshadowing a little bit. Like when we saw that episode was called Through the Valley, that was another moment where I was like, oh fuck, I think they're doing it. This has got to be it.
Yeah.
But this episode just in general, like the budget is insane, and it also feels like for people who were disappointed by like some of like the later episodes of Game of Thrones where they were going to have these like huge battles and they were all in darkness and you couldn't make out any of it. Like this feels like the answer to that. It's like we're going to give you this huge battle in the broad daylight in the snow where you can see everything, and it's like
I was kind of like I was shocked. I liked the battle a lot, but I was also like, I don't think anything like this ever happened in the game, so it must be like
totally.
I think they just needed like a big battle for TV. Like they just needed we need like a big action scene. Let's put one here.
To me, like they wanted a way to make this episode memorable for something other than just being the episode where they killed Joel.
Yeah.
Like there has to be, they wanted to like they knew people were going to be very upset by that, so they're like, okay, we're going to give you that.
You got to give them something else to hold on to, you know.
But you're also going to see this like fucking amazing battle.
Yeah.
And they. Like the execution of that battle was pretty insane, like pretty amazing. Like just seeing all the preparations they're doing, having Tommy give that speech to everyone, like, okay, what do we do if you hear the bells ringing, all that stuff, and then seeing that whole idea of like the infected being insulating themselves under the snow by like digging underneath other ones that have like frozen already is like super creepy. Just so many ideas.
And then, of course, the flamethrower scene with the big guy, that was so good. And I think they did such a good job of showing a new audience how, like, beefy those guys are as far as, like, health. Like, you know? And, yeah.
I thought that was about to go very poorly. I was like, are they killing Tommy? Are these
they better not kill Tommy.
Too? I was also like, for a split second, I was like, they're not like they're not like chickening out, right? And like killing Tommy instead of Joel, and then like somehow like writing Joel into the story instead of the other way. I was like, that would be so
that
bad.
Would be awful.
Yeah, that would have been really bad.
It would just talk about like having your balls fall off. Like that would have
been... yeah.
Right.
Luckily that didn't happen.
Interesting. Yeah. I love that he's just like hitting this thing with a flamethrower, and right at the last second, like it's about to crush him, and then it like falls
Finally
down.
stops.
I'm like,
yeah, I remember my first in the game, your first battle with one in the gym.
Yeah.
And burned through all the ammo I had.
Yeah.
I had a lot saved up. All of it was wasted.
Yeah. I was like watching him torch that thing. I was like, that doesn't look like it's doing shit.
I know it's not doing shit.
But man, God. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Man, just so much happening this episode. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, it's so good.
I'll let you lead it.
Sure. We talked about Jesse waking up Ellie. It was fantastic. Then I can't remember if they say this in the game or not, but Jesse tells her that Joel had wanted to go on patrol with her this morning, but had let her sleep in.
I think that might be in the game. I can't remember exactly, but it sounds kind of familiar.
And I was like, could you imagine if Ellie had been able to go on patrol with him? I wonder if anything would have been different, or
probably a lot would have been different, I would imagine.
Like, man. And Dina, it was Tommy that went on patrol with him, right? In the game? It wasn't Dina.
No, Dina, in the game, she goes on patrol with Dina, and that's how they end up in the gas station. So in this one, she's going on patrol with Jesse, and Dina is with someone else? I can't remember.
But I can't remember Joel, what Dina was doing during that.
But Joel is with Tommy, right? During this scene where they get taken to the WLF house?
Well, no. Joel's with Dina, right?
Dina... yes, you're right. Tommy is there. That's like another fundamental change from the game. Is in the room where Joel dies, Tommy is there in the game. I think Dina is not.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, because in the show, Dina's with Joel when they find Abby, and like Joel's trying to save her.
Yeah. So they mix and match some of the placement of the characters, which I thought was interesting. And like, honestly, as the scene was happening, like I was like, okay, it's coming. Here it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, Ellie hadn't arrived yet. And I was like, it's
very Ellie important. Not gonna
It is very important that Ellie is here.
Yeah.
I was like, she better get here.
Because in the game, she was there almost the whole time.
Like she walks in after he's been beaten pretty badly.
But Ellie sees him get hit with the golf club, right? Like she sees Abby wailing on her with the golf club.
Oh yeah.
Wailing on him.
But when she walks in the game, he's already like bloody on the floor.
He's on the ground.
He's already a bloody pulp. He's already at that point basically where he's like, she's like, Joel, move, and he's trying to lift his hand. Which, holy shit! That was heartbreaking. Holy shit! Just like seeing him like trying to move for Ellie was oh my god.
Yeah.
My wife was like, she's like, he's trying.
Oh,
he's trying. And I was like, I know. Oh god.
Oh god, it is so awful. And the point where at first I was just like sitting there like, oh my god, I knew this was coming, but like I'm not ready for it. And then the part that like really got like tears like literally like flowing from my eyes was when she crawls over and like lays next to him, and I'm just fucking
such a cool
sobbing.
Shot.
Like it was a cool shot, and like I was just like
away as she's like hugging his body.
Oh my god!
Also,
I was crying so hard.
Wait, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Are we talking about Joel's death yet? All right, maybe we should.
We can. Let's back it up. Let's back it up a little bit. So Abby crawling through the fence with all the crawlers coming over. That is like one of my favorite scenes from The Last of Us 2. It was like one of the scenes that like really got me like into the game when I was playing it.
Yeah.
And just what a I'm so glad that they kept it for the show. It's so good. Where she's like crawling on the ground and this fence is leaning over and all of these hundreds of crawlers are like on top of it trying to get at her.
They show
so
the
good,
one
so good.
pushing his hand through
Yeah,
the fence,
cutting,
and it's
slicing
like,
his hand in half.
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yep.
That was so good.
It was insane. And then when you realize, like, she gets out and this crawler's on top of her, and then it gets shot, and you realize that it's Joel.
That was another one where I saw a lot of people use the Walter White meme where it's like you see the gun come out and shoot him in the head, and he's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And like when I was playing the game for the first time, I was like, oh, maybe she'll like have this change of heart where like, you know, it's, I don't know, it's like you think that like, oh, maybe she'll be like, oh, thank you so much for saving me, and they'll find like middle ground or something, but no, it's like she is so dead set.
Yeah, in the show,
killing him.
in the show, I never thought for a second that it would change her mind. You could tell instantaneously that she wanted to kill him right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she even reaches for a knife, I think, and then she's like, no, I better follow through with the plan I had.
Which is definitely another like one of like they're like they made this choice for a reason, and I just don't know what it is yet. Like I don't like hate it or anything. It's just definitely different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wait, what's different?
About like the fact that in the like Gabe said, like in the show when she realized, like when Dina says his name and she realizes this is Joel.
Yeah.
Like there was no moment where I was like, well, and partially because I already knew it was going to happen, I guess. But like even someone who didn't like looks at it and says like, there's no way that she's going to like change her mind. All she sees now is an opportunity.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And she almost took it. She literally almost reached for a knife. Then you see her think about that for a second. It's okay. I really need to get out of here.
Right.
Maybe this is not the best time.
Yeah. Maybe it's
not the best timing.
But it was like this realization of like, okay, I've achieved my goal. I have found the guy.
Yep.
I can't kill him right now, but I found the guy.
I've done it. I'm going, you know,
it's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Do you guys mind if we take a very quick bathroom break?
No, not at all.
Can we go pee real quick? Okay, let's do that. All right. So, hello. So yeah, we get the Battle of Jackson, which was great. I really liked the battle. Tommy killing the big guy with the flamethrower. And then, yeah, I mean, my
That
next
was
note.
just altogether terrifying. Like, just like
Yeah.
the overwhelmingness of that scene was terrifying. Like,
yeah.
Like when you realize, oh my God, they're in the gates, they're in the streets, they're running onto the roofs, they're trying to get into the basement where like the children and
Yep.
elderly people have like locked themselves in there.
Right.
I was like, this is super, super fucked. Oh my God, the dogs. Oh my God, they released the dogs. And I was like, no, not the dogs.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was honestly maybe the most traumatizing part. I was like, don't put the dogs in harm's way. Fuck.
Oh no.
But they did whoop ass. Like that was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, what a spectacle.
And it makes me wonder, I'm like, why did we never get a big battle like this? Or there was another one in the first season where we have like a big battle with.
I mean, the big closest thing in the first one was the cul-de-sac in episode 5. And I think that's all they could afford. I mean, it wasn't a surefire hit yet. Like they weren't sure if it was going to be the next Game of Thrones, or
like you said, they spent their whole first season budget just in episode 2.
I just mean, like, why didn't we get a big battle like that in the games? Because that would have been so cool. Like,
I would say for 2 reasons. One, probably because they, outside of a battle, they already had this like enormous story, like complex story of like personal revenge, kind of like laid out.
Right.
And it was like, do we have the budget, the time to do something of this scale when we already know we want to hit these points? And also too, I just think they were trying really hard to keep the second game feeling as like personal and intimate as possible. Which and which I think they ultimately succeeded. And I think it was okay to like maybe deviate from that a little bit in the show. Because it was only, in a show, it's like that was a cool scene, but it was only like amounts to what, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of an episode. And then you're back to like the more personal stuff. And in a game, that would have been this like
big,
huge endeavor
shift.
So I mean, that's my guess. I think it always probably comes down to money.
Scope. For sure.
Scope. Feature creep is a big thing.
Right. So then my next note here is the scene. It's the scene, and they go back to the WLF cabin, and there's I think they did it really well in the show where there's like this moment of confusion, and in the game, you get Joel and Tommy kind of doing the same thing where they're like, all right, well, who are you guys? Everybody okay? And like just doing this survivor thing. And then they start to notice that something is wrong. In the game,
and they're
happens...
like circling them, like they're like, you can see them like spreading out, like they're hyenas, like circling. I was like, oh, this is going bad.
And in the game, Tommy and Joel are kind of like, wait, what's going on right now? And in this one, it was, them holding a gun to Dina's head and then being like, don't move, like, don't do anything. And then the one girl coming over and being like, I'm just going to put her to sleep for an hour. Like, I'm just going to give her this thing. And what like an awful, but also fantastic scene. I think it was done so well, and it pulled all of the right emotions out of me. I was not feeling good during the scene. Like,
no, I don't think anybody was. I think they were very careful to, and I think maybe that's part of the reason why they put Dina in the scene instead of Tommy, is because they like used Dina as kind of this means of like painting them as like they're not just like mindless lunatics trying to kill. Like the only person they want to kill is Joel.
Right.
So like, and Mel walks over and is like, I'm just gonna this is just going to knock you out for a little bit. And like they're being very nice to Dina, aside from the holding the gun to her head thing. But like, they just have no interest in hurting anybody. And I think that was very important to kind of like for the audience to see that like they're on a mission.
Yeah.
That they're not like hurting anybody else, which is just a little bit helpful towards like maybe getting you to like not just
hate them outright. Yeah.
Outright. I mean, it's still pretty fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that was a smart move. And the way they, oh god, the first shot, like when the shotgun goes off and like blows out his knee, I was like,
it's so good. Yeah. It's so bad, but it's such a good shot.
They do it in the game, they do it in the show, and it's like I was like, that's it, man. You don't come back from that. Like,
right.
You even if you somehow survive this, you're never walking again.
No.
Right.
So yeah, that was a pretty like that's also when you know they mean business. Like there's no talking your way out of this.
Yep.
So
right.
Very cool. Very abrupt way to like let the audience know that these people mean fucking business.
Right.
My favorite thing they changed from the show or the game to the show actually is the actual killing blow.
Yeah,
so perfectly like they did this that like where all the music just like gets sucked out of the like just all the sound gets sucked out of the room and you just hear this ding of like thing going into his neck and hitting the ground underneath it.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's it, he's gone.
Yeah,
Dunzo.
Yeah,
and I was like, that was so perfect. And then it's just intercut with Ellie just screaming and they. I don't know if you haven't listened to their podcast that they do after, I would recommend it because they're great podcasts. But Craig Mazin talked about a little bit about that moment.
Yeah.
And he was talking about when he was kind of giving Bella direction in the scene or whatever. And he's like, I agree. I tend to agree. I think she pulled it off really well. But he's like, I want there to be this like split second change. At one moment you are devastated, emotional, crying, and then in a split second I want you to go to pure anger, rage, violence, just killing machine. And you can see it. That's when she just starts screaming, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I was like,
I'm gonna kill all of you.
That was so good. It gave me fucking chills. I was like, oh my god, that's what we she got where she needed to be. And there's other things that they do with that, which I won't talk about yet because I'm sure they're going to do it in the show.
Sure.
The implications of that moment for Ellie has far-reaching
I can imagine.
Effects.
Yeah.
And it's just so they deal with things and ideas about trauma that you just don't see a lot in anything. And that's one thing I'll always say, like when people ask me like why I don't hate The Last of Us 2, when I'm talking to somebody who like fucking hates it, and I'm like, you can't deny just it's bold. The story they decided to tell is unexpected. It's bold. It's brave. Like they did the hard thing. And that's why I respect it.
Yeah,
I love media that does that. Like I love media that is like, we're not going to give you. Yeah, we're not going to give you the classic hero story. We're not going to give you the classic like anything. This is going to be a tragedy, and it's not going to end how you expect. Whether it be the end of the first game or the end of the second game, like both are very much tragedies in my opinion. Yeah. And there's just not really any happy ending for like anybody, and I appreciate that. That's why I love, in fantasy, we call it grimdark. It's like this grimdark genre where there's not really any good guys. There's not really any bad guys. There's just people with different motivations. And
I mean, that sounds like that Game of Thrones would fit the bill.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is definitely like the progenitor of the grimdark genre. Yeah, it's like everybody kind of sucks, and like not everybody's gonna get out alive. Like your main hero, like, spoilers for the first Game of Thrones, but like even like Ned Stark, like he's not getting out alive, and that like shocked people, right?
I don't know if you saw Game of Thrones, but Pedro Pascal got it pretty good in that show too.
Yeah, he did. But
people are like, oh my god, this is like, people are like, this is comparable to like his character's death in Game of Thrones. Is like, bitch, you didn't know that character for more than like 2 or 3 episodes before they did that to him. And he wasn't even that I mean, he was a cool character, but he wasn't like you weren't like you weren't like, oh, I love Oberyn Martell. He's amazing. It's just like
right.
He's kind of a gross, but like, I mean,
yeah,
he has a purpose and he's like
right.
very focused, and you like that about him. But like, it's not the same thing as Joel.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was telling my mom, because even though I hadn't watched the episode, I knew that Joel was dying in the second episode, and so I texted my mom because I knew that she had watched the first season, and I'm like, "Hey, are you watching The Last of Us?" And she's like, "Yes," and I'm not continuing with the series. and I was like, "Yep." I'm like, "That's the general reaction from people who played the game." Like they were like, as soon as Joel died, they were like, "I'm out." And
I think that's so. I mean, I get it. I get why some people might have that reaction, but like, give it a chance, man, because like
I know, yeah,
there is so much story left to tell, and there are some of the best moments with Joel are yet to come.
Right.
Like that's
for
all
sure.
I can that's all I can say. Like
right.
You want to talk about some of the most like touching, beautiful moments of the entire like story featuring Joel and Ellie, you haven't seen them yet.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I think, you know, she's going to go on to watch the rest of it, but I think it was funny because I was watching yeah, she's still processing. I was watching I don't know if you ever watch Luke Stevens on YouTube, but he's a video game commentator. Like he does like live streams, and he'll talk about like video game news and stuff. And he was like, I want to show you guys something. And he brought up this compilation of people who had just seen the second episode and hadn't played the games. And there was like 6 people that he showed back to back to back that saw that like their son or whatever like recorded them watching it. And at that moment they were like, no, I'm not continuing. And like just back to back, all these people all said the same thing. And I'm like, man, it's crazy how like even across, like it's not just like a video game thing, even across like generations and show watchers and video game players and all, like everybody has this reaction to Joel dying. And I think that really speaks to like how well they've done his character in both mediums. And I was telling my mom, so I had asked her, I'm like, are you still watching it? She says, yes, I'm not continuing. She was like so mad. And I'm like, now imagine spending 30 to 40 hours with this character in a video game and loving this character and seeing even more content with him, and you're like playing as him, like you know him intimately as this character that you played as, and then watching him die in the second game. I'm like, imagine like how much more that's escalated.
How much more weight that carries.
Yeah, for someone who's playing the game. And my mom was like, I can't imagine. I'm like, yeah, this episode that you're seeing happens near the beginning of the second game, and the fan outcry was insane. Like it was
impetus.
Nuts.
Like this is this like the story technically doesn't even start until this moment happens.
Right. Yeah.
And my hope is that a lot of the people who had that knee-jerk reaction of like I'm stopping, we're just having a in the moment emotional reaction.
Sure. I think that's
like,
what it is.
At the very least, I hope they decide to like invest in 1 or 2 more episodes before they make a decision, because like you want to talk about, it's clearly you're emotionally invested because you cared about the character. So like if you want to see if seeing a character that you love that much, someone seeking justice for that character sounds like a story you want to see, maybe you should keep watching, because like that is the story. Like and I don't know. I'm really excited to see where we go from here, because I mean, there's going to be differences. And so far, what I love about the series is that despite the fact that they've been so faithful to the story, they have also like managed to surprise me in almost every episode some way.
Yeah, for sure.
And that, oh man, like what did we do to deserve that? That's so it's so refreshing. It's amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about our theories and thoughts for episode 3 in a moment, but just to go over a couple final things, is I loved Caitlin giving her kind of monologue to Joel, and just how like true it felt, and she was even like crying while she was doing it. And
Fun
it was
fact. Well, not
it was
really
a great
fun.
monologue.
Not really a fun fact. That sounds gross, but Caitlin Deaver's mom passed away just before,
Oh,
and apparently she went. Her funeral was like 2 days before
no
they
way.
filmed this scene. So she
Ooh, that's hard.
talked about how she was like numb and like walking around and just very kind of like
Yeah.
in a fog, and like having to be in that moment and having like Pedro and Bella in the moment, and also just like the kind of people that Pedro and Bella are, like
Yeah.
very much not like Joel and Ellie. Like they're very like upbeat,
very
and
kind
and like everybody loves their kind of like behind the scenes chemistry as much as their on screen chemistry, which is fantastic. But like just knowing that she had to come in and film that within days of that, it's just like, holy shit, I can't even imagine. But she brought it.
I can imagine Pedro giving her like a big hug behind the scenes and just being like, it's gonna be okay, we'll get through this.
There's footage of that, like there's
cool.
They've been releasing like little interviews and behind the scenes stuff on like Instagram and stuff, and there's like shots from behind the scenes of him in like full makeup with like blood pouring out of like every orifice on his face, and he's like giving Caitlin a hug, and I'm like,
aw,
man.
What I love Pedro. I love him so much.
Yeah, seems like a cool dude.
So there's a couple great lines. Tourniquet him is, of course, like right after he gets shot, and she like wants him to die slowly, so she tourniquets him. And then she tells him, she's like, "You shot my unarmed father. Like, you didn't need to shoot him." And I think like I knew this having played the games, but at the same time, I also kind of forgot it until this moment. I'm like, oh yeah, he didn't need to kill the doctor.
No. He has hands up and everything.
Yeah.
Well, he did grab a knife.
Yeah, that's right.
In the game, he did anyways. I don't remember if they did that in the show, but
I think they did.
In the game, he like looks around and grabs like a scalpel or whatever, and he's like, oh, but,
right.
Yeah. But then he gets shot in the face, so
yeah,
not exactly a fair fight.
Right, for sure. And so she says,
for the record, I just thought this was funny because obviously I think the whole thing is very complex. I don't really know how I feel about it. I love Joel, but I also think he did kind of a fucked up thing.
Yeah.
But I understand why he did it. My mother-in-law is just she's like, he deserved everything he got.
Really?
Damn, that is cold-blooded.
That is cold-blooded.
She's like, yeah, I can't believe he did that. And I was like, you didn't die for that? Like, he lost a daughter and he didn't want to lose a second one. Like,
yeah.
I was just like, I didn't think of all the people in the world that would be like this like cold-blooded about the whole thing would be you. But
oh man, that's wild. Never get on her bad side.
It was very surprising. I was like,
yeah. Okay. Oh, damn. She says there are just some things everyone agrees are just fucking wrong. And she kind of like stares at him for a moment, and the camera goes back to him and he nods. And so I'm like, it's almost this like accepting of like I deserve this to some extent, or like I'm at least accepting.
He knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
He was very aware of what.
And he was like, I'm not gonna fight this because I get why you're doing it, because he's like
I would do
you're
the
doing
same
to me what I basically did to you, and he's like,
right, yeah,
I mean, go for it. You did all this work. Here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he doesn't really give any resistance literally until Ellie's in the room and asking him to move, and that's when he's trying to get up.
Yeah,
right.
Which I think he would have much preferred Ellie never come in the room. He just find out about it later. But once she's there, he's like, okay, I have to try to get up.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
It's so tough.
I also love the line where she's in the middle of her monologue and he's like, "Oh Jesus Christ, just shut up and fucking do it already."
Yeah.
And then she says, "You don't get
to rush this."
I was like,
Ooh, that was so brutal. Yeah, it's right when she goes to the golf clubs, and she is about to like go on with another part of her monologue where she's like, you have no idea how long I've waited. He's like, shut the fuck up and do it already. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that line.
Yeah.
And like, even when she's like sitting on the floor and like talking to him, and the camera just like pans over to the golf bag. Yeah. I was just like, fuck, dude, fuck. Like, I
wasn't paying super close attention, I guess, but like, I was like, are there any shots where you can see the golf clubs in the back of the scene before that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I should have been paying more attention, because I'm just wondering if people who play the game were like watching it or like, there's the golf clubs.
Yep. You can for sure see it. Yeah. And then, yeah, of course, you don't get to rush this, which is something that we will see Ellie repeat in her own way later on. So that's a pretty cool little Easter egg.
So many things, man. So many things that come that are
I know. I'm almost kind of bummed that the second game is split into 2 seasons, because some of my favorite scenes are from later.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as long of a wait between 2 and 3.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of the first season had the wait between first and second season was because of the writer's strike and probably COVID to some degree, and so I don't think we'll have to wait nearly as long.
Yeah, that's good. And then Ellie screaming, "Please don't do this! Please don't do this!" Like, that was absolutely heartbreaking. I'm like tearing up through this whole thing,
and then it switches to "You're all gonna fucking die.
You're all gonna fucking die." It was so good. And then she like crawls across and lays next to him, and I'm just like fucking sobbing. Yep. Like, oh my God, it was the hardest thing I've watched in a long time.
This was also, they did the same thing for this episode that they did for the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, where they play where the credits have no music.
That was so good. I love this. They take his body back to Jackson, and there is a song playing, and then as soon as it switches over to the credits, there's no music.
Yeah.
And it was almost like this like moment of silence for the death of like by far one of the most beloved characters of all time in video games. Like, Joel is like at the top of the list for people's like favorite characters. And it felt so like natural and so like respectful of the character, and like I just don't think they could have done it any better.
Having Ashley Johnson
do the song before that
was chef's kiss.
Yeah, it was so good. So that is
final thoughts. Just
so that is my final thoughts going into those are ow. That hurt a lot. I had to take a moment like after that episode, and I just kind of like sat here and I was like, man, I feel like I just relived my first experience with The Last of Us 2 all over again. And yeah, it was
but
tough.
Hey, we ripped the Band-Aid off. The Band-Aid's off. The thing that
everything goes up from here, right? There's no more bad shit.
Well, maybe not that, but the specific thing that we were all dreading is now in the rearview mirror.
Yeah,
right.
Now we can just look forward to more fucked up shit. But there's some cool shit happening in that second game that I can't wait to see how they adapt it in the show.
Yeah, as we're going to like theories about 3 specifically, but also other future episodes, like I can't wait to see Seattle and just like a broken down, like destroyed Seattle. It doesn't look much different than it does now, but like, just like
it's these right. I'm not kidding. I was just there.
Yeah,
we didn't even have to change anything. Well,
we just added some extra greenery, and
I don't know if they actually filmed anything in Seattle itself. They filmed the whole thing in Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I don't think I feel like I would have seen that somewhere.
Yeah.
If they were doing
right.
that.
Yeah, because I wonder like how much of it is going to be CGI. Excuse me, CGI, because Seattle has some really recognizable landmarks, like some really
they'll have probably like the Space Needle, broken down somewhere, and that's really honestly all you need. And then just other buildings.
They'll have lots of establishing shots to kind of
yeah. But I mean, there's like the big like the Tacoma Narrows, and there's like a bunch of other like things around the area, like the science center and like the big arches and stuff, and like the Ferris wheel, the eye,
Pike's Place,
Pike's Place,
all of which are visible and in some cases visitable in the game.
yeah, for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see how they handle it, but
yeah, it'd be super cool. The aquarium.
That's but that luckily the aquarium is something they were probably going to build a set, because there's a big there's an aquarium that plays a major role in the game, so they probably just built a big set somewhere for that.
Right.
Or found an aquarium in Canada and just pretended.
Just went with that. Yeah, for sure. So what? I'll start with Gabe, because I'm just curious. Where do you think the story goes from here? Like what do you think happens next?
Grief and anger.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
That's it.
What do you think Ellie does?
Is very sad and angry, and has to do with that somehow.
But like, what would the actual like rest of the game be, do you think?
Revenge?
Yeah, like a revenge, like her hunting down the WLF. Yeah.
Or Abby in particular.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
But like for the show, like they're all gonna need some time to grief and figure out what happens next. So I have no clue what's gonna happen next in the show, but I just know it's gonna be focused on that for at least a little while.
Yeah.
Figuring out what Ellie's gonna do to make herself to make herself feel better. What she needs to do to feel vindicated because of this situation.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty safe bet. Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nick? Do you think that at the end of episode 3 we're heading to Seattle?
I mean, if I had to guess, I think episode 3 is going to be almost entirely in Jackson dealing with the immediate aftermath.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a flashback or two. I'm hoping we get the conversation between Ellie and Dina about immunity, but like that whole conversation would have to take a whole different tone.
Yeah.
In the show than the game, because in the game that's before Joel dies.
Where is the grow room in the game? Is that near Jackson?
Yeah, it's along their route. They're
okay.
Yeah, they're
where her and Jesse stop. And although in the game it's like in some underground, like it's like in the basement of the thing.
Yeah.
In the show they just kind of put it in the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait, have we already seen this in the show?
Yeah.
It was in episode 2.
Oh, maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Damn, Spencer.
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, it's Dina and Jesse in the gas station. It's where they're calling back to Jackson, and then that's where they find out that they haven't heard from Joel.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, I don't think I realized that.
I mean, it's not a huge moment in the episode.
No, it's pretty quick too. It's just like a little thing, and then talk about the guy that was growing it and stuff.
Yeah, without Ellie there's not really a ton to do there.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get that scene that we didn't get last episode here.
Yeah, I bet my thoughts are near the end of episode 3, we are on our way to Seattle. I think because she makes that decision pretty quickly in the game. She like comes back from Joel's death and she's like, we're going to go hunt these motherfuckers down. And they're like out the door pretty quickly. So I think
like a matter of days. If you want a bold prediction for the show,
let's go. Let's do it.
My bold prediction of the show is that
you have to bet your left testicle.
I'm not doing that, but my bold prediction is that we're not going to see Abby again this season, or not much of her this season.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're probably not going to see her until the finale, or even the beginning of season 3.
I would agree. Yeah. We might get some cutaways with her and the crew going back to the base in Seattle.
Yeah. It just depends on how they want to frame.
Yeah, because in the game you don't ever see Abby again until the second half of the game.
Yeah.
And so without giving too much away, like you don't get anything more with her. Yeah.
There's 2 chunks of the game that are happening concurrently.
Yeah.
In the game. And so it depends on how they're going to figure out how to do that in the show. So like I could see them using the rest of the season to tell Ellie's side, and then using a lot, and then making Abby kind of the lead character in season 3, maybe. I don't know.
Do you
that
think
would be
they
risky.
do that? Yeah, it would be risky. I don't know if they split it up like that. I think they bounce back and forth between Abby and Ellie.
They could do it. They could have them like
timeline.
They could have like one episode, one Ellie episode, one Abby episode, one Ellie episode, one Abby episode. I don't know.
That could be kind of cool.
I feel like you kind of got to keep Ellie at the forefront. I think if you want to keep the audience, on the hook.
What if episode 3 is all Abby, and it would just piss everybody off?
I will only tell you I don't think that's the case, because I've seen
previews. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's true.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe episode 4 does that. Who knows?
Yeah.
I guess maybe ask me again next time after we kind of see how they handle Abby. In episode 3, if at all.
Right.
That'll be kind of a telling thing, I suppose.
My prediction is that we have like the beginning of episode 3 where she wakes up like we saw in the hospital or whatever, or the medic room or whatever, and then we go from there to her doing like planning and like working around Tommy's wife, because isn't it Tommy's wife that is like trying to get her to not leave for a while, right, in the game? Oh,
hello, can you hear me?
You're back. Yeah.
My headphones keep fucking randomly turning themselves.
Oh, that's okay. I was just saying my prediction for episode 3 is that she wakes up in the medic room or whatever, and then in the game, isn't it Tommy's wife that is trying to get her and Dina to not leave? There's somebody trying to block their way. And so I bet that the first half of episode 3 is that, and them getting around her. And then
maybe the whole episode is them trying to
I don't
reaching
think
the decision to go, and then like trying to like get out of Jackson without.
I really don't think they waste that much time on it, because I would bet that in episode 5 we get to the theater.
Maybe.
Because I think the first half of episode 3 is them trying to get out of Jackson, and then the last half is Ellie and Dina just starting to go on their way to Seattle. And by the end of episode 3, we've had their first sex scene, and maybe we see them like start to, reach a cliff or something where they see Seattle, and that's where it ends.
Maybe. I could see that.
Maybe that's too fast, but I think
I don't know.
For 7 episodes, they have to get there. Like, they have to get it moving.
It really just depends on where they decided to like end the season. Like there are a lot of points in the game where I'm like, you could theoretically, like this is a big moment. You could end it here.
You could end the season. You could end the season with them getting to the theater.
You could,
because that's kind of a big moment too.
Yep. Oh man, and I don't want to talk too much about like certain moments. Yeah. Man, there's some cool shit. In the second game. There's some cool shit.
I know. It makes me want to go continue playing The Last of Us 2 right after this.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I might start it tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Gabe, what do you think so far? Are you feeling hooked on season 2 the same way you were season 1, or where are you at so far?
Yeah, probably not as much. But I think that's just because I haven't seen, what.
Sure. You haven't seen enough.
I knew the big thing to expect.
Yeah.
I think even before you did, because I think I spoiled it for you forever ago. But so I was pretty aware. I really, the way they did it was awesome. But yeah, I'm ready for more. Definitely ready for more.
I would say one thing people should probably prepare themselves for in episode 3 is that it's probably going to be a much slower much more
I kind of already
emotionally
figured
driven episode.
Yeah, figured.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, don't expect a bunch of infected and a bunch of like cool action scenes. Like, this is probably going to be a character.
Yep.
episode.
Yeah, because the whole thing with The Last of Us 2 is examining people's motives, examining people's hearts, and examining, like, is revenge worth it? Because Ellie and Abby are on a similar track where Abby just got her revenge. And the rest of the game is her kind of trying to figure out if that revenge was worth it and how she can kind of atone for this thing that she just did. And
while
then
Ellie is like in full blown I'm gonna kill you mode.
Yeah, and she is like, Ellie is like driving away everybody around her and is like fully focused on killing Abby. That's all she cares about. It doesn't matter who she hurts in the way. None of that matters. And so it's, as you get, I'm not going to spoil anything, but as you get to the end of the game, you are literally presented with the question of, was it worth it? Like, there is a thing that you play at the end of the game that is basically making the player as a person trying to decide if everything up to this point was worth it. And so it is a much slower kind of look at the like mental state of these characters and like the whole, like, not theory, but like the whole idea behind both of these revenge plots. And so it's much more of an examination than the first season was.
Cycle of violence.
Yeah. So good. I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited. Woo! We're back, baby.
Hour and 15 minutes until the next episode.
I know. Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, because it goes, what, 9 p.m. Eastern?
Yep. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we will get out of here and let people prepare mentally for some more emotional and mental scarring from this show. But I hope everybody has had fun with these first couple episodes. Well, fun, right? But, I hope...
episode 3 of the first season was Billstown, and that was like a standard episode. Maybe we're about to get our Billstown of...
That would be great. That would be great. I wonder what characters it would be. The kids. I wonder if we see them anytime soon.
Which kids?
The ones that Abby takes care of.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We'll
no, I don't think so. Yeah.
We'll
okay.
See.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Well, no, yeah, I sincerely hope everybody is enjoying the season so far. So far, I think it's off to a fantastic start. Despite little gripes and complaints that I have, I still really love this show. I love what they're doing with it. And of course, I love the game, so I'm here for it. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out today. Thanks, Nick, for hanging out with us and talking some Last of Us. Do you have anything to announce yourself or anything that you'd like to plug or anything like that?
I mean, our podcast, 4-Player Podcast, we record on Tuesday nights. I'm very much looking forward to recording this week because I finished Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and started Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which is a terrible name, but it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And so we'll be talking about that. So yeah, 4-Player Podcast. And Dexter season is,
right around the corner, baby.
I mean, no end in sight for Dexter, and that's fine by me.
I know.
Like maybe 2-3 months away from another season of Dexter. So
yeah, what is that? June?
Everyone thinks June right now, but it could be July, it could be August. I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
But I think we'll find out the answer to that question here pretty soon. But yeah, I do some guest writing, I suppose you could say, for DexterDaily.com. So if you're interested, check that out. That's maybe the longest running, biggest Dexter fan site on the net. Check it out. And that's all I got right at the moment.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up there, guys. be sure to check out Nick's links. I will have all of them in the description. I believe they're in the description for this live video right now, so you can go click on those right at this moment. Check out his 4-player podcast. I'm a patron over there. I watch them live from time to time. I used to watch every week, but life gets busy. But I'll definitely be tuning in this Tuesday because I want to hear your thoughts on Clair Obscur. But yeah, go check those out. It's a great podcast, and if you like Dexter, you're gonna love his articles over on the Dexter Daily. And of course, Nick will be back for more Last of Us, I'm sure, and he'll definitely be back for Dexter Resurrection when that comes out. It's a busy year. It's a busy freaking year. We haven't had this many things for Fantasy Files Reacts in a long time.
I feel like I'm living my best life right now because Dexter and The Last of Us are like two of my favorite things. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is even getting a reboot. And that's like the third thing on my list of like my favorite.
When does that come out?
That's awesome.
I don't think we know right now, but I know Sarah Michelle Gellar has talked about they finally kind of announced it, and when after they announced it, she was like, things are moving a lot quicker than I was expecting after they announced it. So like I think it's coming together, like a writer's room is coming together or has already come together. So I have a feeling that might enter production before the end of the year. So
yeah, maybe we do a series on that. That'd be fun.
I would you'd have to watch the original show, which is
I'd have to watch that first.
Yeah, man, it's a sequel series. You'd need
Dude, I've wanted to start it for a long time. Maybe I'll
You just gotta go in being comfortable knowing you're watching a CW or a WB show, whatever. It's got a certain amount of like cheese to it, but like
I love the Vampire Diaries, so
then you'd be right at home. The characters are classics. The story is it's one of those stories that has stayed with me for my entire life, and I love it so much. And I don't know, man. Like, and then we got a prequel season of Dexter with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I was like, what is happening right now?
There's a comeback.
Dexter, Buffy, they're like crossing over with each other. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here for it. So
that's awesome. That's so cool. Well, yeah, you'll be back soon for more of these, and then you'll be back for Dexter, and then whatever. Have you watched Yellow Jackets yet? Finished.
I've started the second season. I was waiting.
God damn it.
Yeah, I know. My wife and I are watching Severance and Yellow Jackets, and we're slow when we watch things together. We're slow.
Yeah, right. I'll just tell you, season 2 was like okay, like I enjoyed it, but season 3 knocks you off your ass. It is so good. We watched the first
episode. It was pretty good. So
it's so good. Yeah. All right.
Looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, Nick will be back. Look for his links down in the description, and you can also reach out to us by using our links below. We got Twitter, Discord, Patreon, where you can join us live as we record this episode. Live as we record these episodes, you can come in and hang out with us, just like Spacey Nova was doing today. You can do that all the time whenever we record an episode. So definitely check that out. I actually got the idea from Nick because that's what they do. Their patrons can watch them recorded live. So. But yeah, Patreon helps us out a lot, and it helps us pay for like Premiere and all the other services we use to run
the lights on, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It makes it so that the money isn't coming directly out of our pockets to pay for this hobby because it gets quite expensive. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time for episodes 3 and 4. That'll be the same day that episode 5 comes out. So so not this weekend, not the next weekend, but the one after that.
So the 11th of March.
So 2 weeks. Yeah, cool.
May, 11th of May. It's April. I know.
Right, I know. Time is a flat circle. But yeah, so we'll be back on the 11th for episodes 3 and 4, right before episode 5, getting you hyped up for episode 5, getting you in the mood. We'll do it just like this one, live and everything, so everyone will be able to see it, and I don't have to edit it, which is super, super nice. So thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, be sure to call out forward before you swing that golf stick, because you may just hit someone in the head with that thing. Safety first, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.